Hey everybody, this is So Many Sequels, your book club for movies, and I'm Josh.
And I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
Welcome to the show and the start of a new theme, a new era on
Ooh.
So Many Sequels. What if they're eras and not themes? That's fun. I don't know. Think about it.
I mean, I don't think anybody else is using that right now. We could work with that.
Nobody uses the term era to describe the theme of the current moment. Anyway.
No.
The new era on So Many Sequels is here, and we're talking about films directed by women. That's really the only prerequisite we put on it, I think, right?
It is.
Like
Yeah.
films directed by women. We wanted to highlight female directors this month, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to kick things off today with a discussion of Lost in Translation. What was that, 2003? Film from Sofia Coppola is the director of that. It stars Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson in perhaps her true breakout role in film. I think this is what put her on the map initially after Home Alone 3 and a few other things. But so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Subscribe to the show if you haven't done that yet. Go to our channel on YouTube or Spotify or wherever it is you get podcasts and subscribe to the show there. We would love to have you along for more. And so you can get new episodes each week when they come out. We do news and updates episodes throughout the week and our weekly movie review. Our weekly book club meeting. Maybe that's what that one is. I don't know.
I agree. I think that's
what
name
it is. Something like that. So go do that.
Yeah, join the discussion. Comment on the Spotify and on the YouTube. They have areas where you can join in. Tell us that we suck. Whatever. I don't care. Just comment. It helps.
We could be wrong. We're probably wrong. But again, you can go to somanysequels.com and find links to follow us there. So, without further ado, let's get into some things here. We're talking about Lost in Translation. Two lost souls visiting Tokyo, the young and neglected wife of a photographer and a washed-up movie star shooting a TV commercial, find an odd solace and pensive freedom to be real in each other's company away from their lives in America. How did this movie go when it opened back in 2003, David?
Yeah, well, it opened in limited release September 12th of 2003. I'll actually skip ahead, though, a little bit to when it got a bit of a wider release, which was October 3rd. That was its biggest weekend, October 3rd, 2003. It opened, that particular weekend had $4.3 million in the number 7 spot. Number 1 that week, actually, guys, this weekend will sound really familiar to you because number 1 that movie was the debuting School of Rock, which we just talked about.
Covered this weekend already.
Yes, well, we've been all over this weekend. Out of Time was number 2, The Rundown,
Out of Time,
Under the Tuscan Sun, and Secondhand Lions. That was your top 5 for the weekend that Lost in Translation sort of opened to larger audiences. It would go on...
Sweet.
Exactly, sweet indeed. It would go on to make $44.5 million in the United States, $74 million overseas, for a worldwide total of $118.6 million. All that on a very small budget. There was not a lot of, the big cost of this was just, I think, mostly shooting in Japan. From what I read, Bill Murray didn't even sign a contract for the movie, so it only cost about $4 million to make. So overall, a very big return on investment for the film. But beyond that, it was also a heavy Academy Award favorite, and was. I don't know if it won anything. We'll have to get into that in a minute.
Best original screenplay.
Best original screenplay. There you go. This is for the So Many Sequels brand. This is our 10th movie from 2003. The aforementioned School of Rock. We previously covered Bad Santa, Elf, Identity, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Love Actually, and The Matrix. All 3 of the Matrix movies that came out in 2003, which would be like Reloaded. Revolution, and the Animatrix. So we had all the Matrixes covered. So there you go. That is your sort of 2003 rundown for Lost in Translation.
Dang. All right. Well, let's. You know what, Garrett? This was your pick for the month. You chose Lost in Translation. why did you pick it, and then what were your expectations going into it this time?
So this in 2003 to 2013, probably my range, was one of my favorite movies. I loved Bill Murray as a kid, and so seeing him in a dramatic role was something that I was super interested in. And then always being into movies, I would see a lot of the Academy Award nominated movies, and this one was high up there. So I'm sure I saw it. I'm sure I rented it from Blockbuster or something like that. And what I remember the most, at least during the marketing of the movie, was Bill Murray on the elliptical machine and getting caught. And so I thought it was going to be this comedy, right? And then at 2003, I was young, younger. And so I finished it this time for the first time in however long. And I said, I don't understand how the young version of me liked this movie so much, because I absolutely didn't understand what this movie was. I just liked it. And it's always lived in my head, because I remember I felt like Bill Murray deserved an Oscar. He was so good and captivating, and it was something that I had never seen him in. So I have always just really loved this movie. And so whenever we decided to pick the theme of female directors, this is the first thing that jumped in my head, because I really hadn't seen it probably in 10 years. So I thought it would be an interesting way to revisit it. So I didn't really have any expectations other than I was excited to see how it would hold up in several years later.
What about you?
And
Dave?
I learned that this was both of yours first time, and I didn't know that. So yeah, David, what did you have expectation-wise?
Well, I'd always heard about this movie, and I'd always heard sort of references about the movie. I remember it being pretty critically acclaimed at a youngish age, but I also remember somewhere mid-2010s there being more conversations about it being somewhat problematic in retrospect. So I kind of went in with like an uncertain expectation of, is this going to be like really good with some weird aspects, or what's going to happen here? And I also just kind of knew of it. So many of my knowledge of critically acclaimed movies just come from like Family Guy and Futurama references and stuff, because there's just this there's this episode of Family Guy.
You heard it here first.
There's this episode of Family Guy where Cleveland and Peter walk out of Lost in Translation, and Peter says something like, "What do you think he whispered to her?" And Cleveland just goes, "I don't know, but I bet it was just right." And so that's all I've really. That's like the main takeaway I know is like at some point, but Bill Murray's gonna whisper to Scarlett Johansson, and it'll be unsaid. But so yeah, I don't know. I was unsure of what exactly to expect, but I was interested because this is one of those movies we talk about broadening our horizons. That's what that's how I like to think of this podcast, is broadening my film horizons a little bit, to watch movies that I don't normally watch, and I was excited for a chance to do that.
Awesome. Excellent. Yeah. Similar vibes here. I hadn't seen it before. I couldn't really tell you why. I just don't think it ever crossed my desk for chance. But
They got lost.
It got lost in something.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know a ton about it other than just that basic premise we read at the top, that it was about two Americans kind of lonely in Japan, far away from home, and they connect in some way. So I didn't really know what to expect, other than, I knew it was a dramatic role for Bill Murray. I knew it was going to be a young Scarlett Johansson, and that's about all I knew. That's all I knew about this movie. So expectations were limited from that. I was hoping, I guess, for it to be. I'm hoping for this to be good, because I'm like, okay, I do know it's critically acclaimed, so I'm hoping it holds up in that regard. I know I said it won that screenplay Oscar, but it was also nominated. Bill Murray was nominated for Best Actor that year. Like Eric said, that we wanted him to win. I think there was another Oscar or two in there too. So
Coppola was nominated for Best Director, and then Excellent. It was also a Best Picture nominee.
There you go. So That's it. I just was like expecting, okay, I know this is an Oscar movie. Let's get into it. That's what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So
yeah.
I'm interested to hear from you all more than me as someone who has seen it. So coming out of that, David, it sounds like you had a little more experience, a knowledge of it than Josh. So coming out of it, how you feeling?
Well, it is one of those movies, and I kind of thought this early on. It is one of those movies where um, it's not like a plot heavy thing. There's not like a
No.
series of events that are like, chained together. It's very naturalistic. It's very like I even read that like there was kind of a very flexible script. Coppola let Bill Murray improvise. They kind of just went with the flow. They had a couple scenes that were like them doing karaoke, and they just shot that. Like they only made this movie in the course of like 20 something days. So like it's not necessarily a movie where it's like, and then this happened and this happens. It's very much about the vibe, the energy. What I took away from it, there was one thing I took away from it. And there's one thing that when I was researching the film, I learned was a bigger topic of conversation, and I think we can have that conversation in a minute about the opening shot. But the idea of the movie being about the feeling of isolation, and specifically that feeling of isolation abroad, to be in a foreign country where you don't speak the language and you just feel like you have nobody to connect with, and finding that connection in an unexpected person and being able to just feel like you get to be yourself a little bit. You don't have like any of these expectations that you have back home or anything like that. Um, and how that's explored. I think that's a really interesting theme, and I think it's a worthwhile theme to explore. Um, it's funny, Garrett, you talk about watching this as a movie. When you watch a movie as a kid, every adult seems like they're the same age to you almost. So like I
Yeah.
imagine that it didn't feel like there was that big of an age difference between Johansson and Murray. I
Yeah.
appreciate that this film at never point becomes like explicitly a sexual thing. There is some romanticism, there is some definite intimacy. They definitely both cheated, but there's some. But it is about this just connection that they share for this brief moment in time. So I didn't know a lot going in, other than there was something, and maybe there is some more conversation to be had about modern times. I also know that there's a lot of conversations about depictions of the Japanese people, but I don't want to go on for too long. But Josh, what did you think?
I don't. For a while, I was like, what is happening? Is anything happening? And then
Mm-hmm.
I do realize, and I realized at a certain point in watching it that that's the point to a degree. Like you said, David, it's not a very plot heavy movie. It is more about this. I don't know if you want to call it like a serendipitous relationship between these two, or they just seem to be at the right place at the right time to share this almost strange connection. Because yeah, it doesn't become this overly romantic like affair,
Mm-hmm.
but there's some definite lines that are crossed, and but it almost feels like that's not, and they realize almost that that's not the point, and that's not why they connected. I don't think we really get to know the why. I think that's part of the message of the movie, and is that it just happened. So it ended, and I almost felt like foggy about it, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And
And
I think,
maybe that was by design.
yeah, I think the movie sets you in a place of being somewhat uncomfortable even early on in the film. Like it tries to put you, I think, in that headspace of they're uncomfortable. Like everywhere they go, they feel like an outsider. So like the movie itself kind of leaves you in this uncomfortable headspace.
Right, like Bob, Bill Murray's character, is pretty like clearly unhappy. We find out pretty early on. He is washed up. He's a washed up actor, like the description said, and he's doing um,
Suntory Times,
terrible,
whiskey
yeah,
endorsements.
terrible commercials for Japanese television. He's being yelled at in a language he doesn't understand, so he's just kind of almost like apathetic to everything happening around him. He's like, does it seems like he said more than that, like when he goes on and on about something and then she says, "Oh, he just wants you to turn to the right with passion."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he didn't though, and so it's almost like you can tell he's just grown weary of it. So that was interesting. And then you have Scarlett Johansson, who is married to a celebrity photographer. That's why they're in Japan. So she's not really there for any reason that she wants to be there, other than she went with her husband. And so she's lonely, and he's always gone, and she's kind of questioning things. You see why it takes them a while to figure out why they've connected, because it takes a minute for them to even open up to each other about these things.
Yeah, and for me, that's younger version of me liked the vibe, right? David, you had mentioned that this movie is very art. Mm-hmm. It's very vibe heavy, and that for me was what really stood out, was these people running around in this city, and the way that it was shot was so authentic and kind of a guerrilla style. I think I read they didn't use a lot of permits, a lot of stuff. They just kind of went and shot things whenever they had a chance. But that isolation you talked about, it's so prevalent throughout this movie, and they use the scene, they use the city, they use the country itself of Japan and Tokyo to help in those moments of isolation. This is such a huge, massive city and country, and there are just beautiful shots of Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson alone in these wide open spaces, and you just feel that, because that is the feeling. They want you to feel uncomfortable, but they want you to feel that loneliness they're feeling, because both of them are lonely, not only in Japan, but they're lonely in their life at this moment in time. Bill Murray's unhappy with his life, so he's continually acting that he is happy, that he's in a good place. Scarlett Johansson is feeling neglected and getting no attention from her husband, and really questioning whether or not this marriage was the right decision. And this connection just kind of, it does happen, but this is the first time that either one of them have allowed themselves to really be themselves, the unhappy version of themselves, the truthful version of themselves. All of these inner turmoil things that they're dealing with at a young age, at a middle age. She sees in him a future and wants to know things. He sees in her a youth and a revitalization in his own life and energy where he feels nothing. So it's this character unraveling throughout this whole thing, through these moments, and seeing that this time, and this, I think the younger version of me, I saw it, but I didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And this time,
that elliptical scene.
You really, yes, exactly.
You
really understand the unpacking of what these people are going through, and the way that Sofia uses the city again as a way to help tell the story. Those scenes of isolation or claustrophobic kind of chaos, or those intimate moments where things are calm with just those two. It's really just beautifully done, with that sense and vibe of discomfort, of knowing that she's so young. In the movie, she is graduated from college. In real life, she's 17, and so that's not great. That's weird.
Yeah, maybe over 19 or something like that.
Yeah, so that's not good. But in the movie itself, the age difference is not questionable. But because they're both married, because they're both there, you ride that tension of I don't like this, and you feel that tension because the performances from Scarlett and Bill just, I don't know, it really sucks me in anyway. I don't know how you guys felt about their performances.
Their performances are great. I mean, everybody praised Bill Murray at the time, and he does a great job, but man, Scarlett Johansson at 17. Are you kidding me?
I know.
Yeah, don't love
she's
that.
She's just one of the
happening
best.
Also, but
Yeah.
she's acting incredibly for that age, against this great like legendary person in 2003. I mean, today even, but in 2003 for sure. I watched a clip actually of Scarlett Johansson in recent years. I believe it was on the Howard Stern show talking about filming Lost in Translation, and she mentioned that it almost felt isolating to her filming it because she was a young actor on a set with Bill Murray. Like, she said great things about acting with him, but she said it was weird
Sure.
because one, yeah, he improved lines in ways that like she didn't or couldn't. Um, he was treated with this sort of reverence on set that was, I guess, kind of strange feeling to her, and can feel isolating. So it was interesting to hear her channel that because she talked about filming it from a really like introspective, self-reflective place, whereas she said Bill is a comedian and was always on. I thought that was interesting to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
David, what about you?
Well, I thought the performances were fine. You know, I mean, there's not necessarily like a big, there's not like any like big scenes or anything like that. It just require like some kind of crazy thing. But it's all very like I said earlier, very naturalistic. You know, there's the sequences where they're doing like the karaoke and stuff where they're having a little bit more fun. But it's just, they both play off each other well. Scarlett has always been able to pull off like seeming like a pretty smart, quick character, and then Bill Murray just has that natural like comedic rhythm of he can make up a conversation with anybody, and bounce off of people as he needs to. So I mean, yeah, performances are really solid, in a really quiet way.
Yeah, that reserved nature is really what I think stands out because that's hard to do, especially throughout the whole movie because they never fully indulge in the tension or the feeling that's there. They allow the connection to be bigger than what could cause problems.
It's kind of
I think
like
they both realize there's a relationship
Yeah.
there that is important, and that anything physical or over the line would sour this moment that they are both feeling,
It's almost like
even though that moment's there.
Yeah, it's almost like neither of them are really that interested in the idea of the physical relationship that they could have. Like neither of them are like, they're because then that changes like the whole dynamic of it. Then they're not going to want to see each other because they know that like they got to go back to their lives. But Bill Murray's character ends up hooking up with a different woman sort of towards the end, and Scarlett's like a little bit offended, but turns it into a joke anyway. And so like they managed to persevere through that.
Yeah, they at the end of the movie when they part ways, they Bob is leaving going to the airport. And they do share a kiss toward the end. A couple. Well, it's not like a romantic kiss, I wouldn't say, but they do attempt to share one. And Bob whispers something into Charlotte's ear. David, you referenced this in Family Guy earlier. I guess this is one of the things. I guess this is one of the things that became a pop culture moment after this movie came out. Was what did he whisper? And then the movie ends.
Whatever it was just right.
I don't know. I guess to wrap up the conversation on the story of the movie, what do you guys think he said?
Never let go. I'll never let go, Jack.
I think he said, "Did that opening shot of your underwear feel a little too long to you?" And then
It did to me. I think he said, "No, I am your father."
Oh.
That's the other part I want to talk about. As in researching the movie, I found out that there was a lot of conversation initially about this opening shot, this 36 seconds uninterrupted of just Scarlett's butt,
Bum.
panties,
Posterior.
semi-transparent underwear, that just hangs on for a little too long. And the most interesting interpretation I found was someone who said that it's sort of obviously, girl in her underwear that appeals immediately to like the male gaze. We've all heard this term, but it lingers for just long enough that you almost become, even if you're a man, uncomfortable about the fact that you're sitting here just looking at this for so long with nothing else going on, that you're like, okay, now I feel like I'm just, and if you're in a movie theater, now you're just like, now I'm just sitting in a room with a bunch of people looking at this bottom. And so it's like, you almost have to like acknowledge in your own self, like, oh, I'm participating in like some kind of sexualization of this situation. But I don't know, like, what do you guys think? Did that shot put me in an uncomfortable state to start the movie after a little while? But what about you?
Yeah, I didn't like looking at. And I don't even really know that you know whose butt it is when it starts.
This could be a double.
I don't think you've seen anybody's face yet. No, I'm not even talking about doubles. Like, you don't even know who the character is at first.
I thought it was Bill.
Right, that could have been Bill. No, but like, it could have been Anna Faris. I don't know.
It's true. Anna Faris is
yeah.
We forgot to mention her.
Yeah, there's some side characters. Giovanni Ribisi is Charlotte's husband, John. And then Anna Faris is a celebrity who has had her pictures taken from John and is there to cause a little questioning between their relationship.
I think, to answer though your question, David, I just thought, all right, I've seen, all right, new scene, all right, I've seen enough. That's about as far as I thought about it.
And I think maybe you're right, David. I mean, I think that this whole movie is about sitting in that uncomfortable nature and really thinking about this discomfort and what choice are you going to make, right? We don't have a choice at what we are seeing on the screen, but in those uncomfortable situations, you have a choice to make. And if you take a little longer to think about it, maybe you realize it is uncomfortable and not a good thing to do.
Yeah, and then there's the other aspect of that was, as it's sort of presented, she's alone. And there's no one seeing this other than us, the audience. And it sort of highlights her isolation in that moment. After a long enough time sitting with it, it desexualizes it to the point where it's just a woman, alone in bed with nothing else. And so it putting you in that position of this feeling of isolation they're both going through.
Very interesting. Lots of interpretations on loneliness and isolation, I think, to take from this movie. Let's do our final review and ratings for this film. Garrett, you should do the honors as it was your choice.
This was a movie that really hit me when I was a kid, a young kid who was really just into filmmaking and wanted to make that his life when he was in 2003. And this, I think, is directed so beautifully by Sofia. I think that not only are the performances incredible, but the way she uses the camera, the way that she uses the scenery and the city, and just the way that she brings this film that's got pacing all over the place and just, I don't know, there's a life to it that I just truly appreciate. And seeing Bill Murray in such a serious role this way has always been something I've enjoyed. So I'm surprised that this one has held up as well for me, but I'm gonna give it 4.5.
All right.
Okay.
4.
What do you think, David?
I thought that this was good. I think that the theme is a worthwhile theme to explore. I think that it does a fairly good job of conveying that theme. That said, there's not also much else about this movie that just like, I'm like, oh man, I loved this and this and this. So I think I would settle around a 4. Like, it's very well done, but there's nothing about it that just for me is like, oh, this is a top movie for me. So 4 stars.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
Sorry.
And then
Sorry, one of my 4s may have sounded like I was saying 4 something.
Oh, yeah, I don't think I caught it. All right. For a first time watch, I still kind of felt that foggy feeling afterward is there for me still. And I think maybe I think the movie got lost in translation for me a little bit.
Yeah.
Not because it's bad by any means, maybe just because I had a more difficult time kind of connecting with the characters and their loneliness just because of this, maybe the specifics of their situations. I don't know, something about it just I was like, I just could we used to start this show by describing the movie in one word,
Yeah.
and it would be foggy. I really just keep coming back to foggy. So I think it was really well made. I mean, especially considering that Sofia Coppola wrote and directed this. Um, Really interesting writing. I know it was based on not like her real life, but like she spent time living in Tokyo and faced similar feelings of isolation and really turned that around and put it into a script that made a great movie. So I think she did great here. I think everybody did a great job with the performances. My lack of connection for it is going to make it a 3.5.
Okay.
I get that.
That's the best thing.
I can easily see how this doesn't hit with people. Again, the pacing is really all over the place. It's like stop, go, stop, go, stop.
And I think,
it's back and forth.
I think too, it's also one of those things of like, this was a small budget movie. They shot it in a short amount of time. I think that like if this had been a film with more money and more time or something like that, maybe there's more, you could get more to it. But it's not a very long movie. It's about an hour 40 minutes. It's pretty concise. So
Okay. Well, I will read off a few of the most popular reviews from Letterboxd here while we take a minute to think about what score it might have. This is going to be interesting. I'm going to tell you right now, just from scrolling this first page.
yeah.
Okay.
This one has no stars, and it's a quote, but I wanted to read it anyway because I think it sums up the movie. I just feel so alone, even when I'm surrounded by other people. 3 stars, The Last White Man in Tokyo. This one had a 5 stars. Bill Murray, you should have just stayed in Japan and started your jazz band with Scarlett, but you didn't, and now I'm crying. 1 star. Please don't hate me for this bad movie opinion, but I simply did not feel the magic with this one.
Okay.
3 stars. Anyways, Alexa, play Kyoto by Phoebe Bridgers. I just like that reference.
It fits the vibe too.
It does. And then finally, this one's going to be a deep cut, I think, for Scarlett Johansson scandals. 5 stars.
gosh.
The earliest hints of ScarJo's Asian heritage can be traced back to the filming of this movie.
Oh
I
man.
knew that one was gonna make it in.
Yeah, we didn't really bring it up, but one of the things that doesn't hold up well is there are certainly some scenes of the Japanese culture. Well, now, again, not an expert in authentic traditional Japanese culture by any means. So, but even I could tell that some of this felt pretty stereotypical at times.
Well, and
didn't love that.
And there's no real Japanese characters that like are characters. You know, they are they're side elements. So there's not like a Japanese character that really gets to like stand out or be anything to kind of like show, hey, we're more than just this monolith of unknowable people.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So all right.
All right.
Josh, you are still in last place for the Letterboxd game, but you are only down 3. Garrett and I are tied.
I do think that the Letterboxd folks are probably going to be higher on it than I am. I don't know how high they'll go. I'm going to guess 3.9.
That's a good one.
I'll go next then. I'm going to say it's a 4.1.
That's what I was gonna do, you jerk. I'll just go with 4.0. Yeah.
Okay, we're lined up 3.9, 4.0, and 4.1. This week, refresh. We do not have a direct hit.
That's crazy.
Oh man,
I know.
I feel like I should have been. Go ahead.
It's the winner's me because it is
Hey.
3.8, but we were all extremely close.
Wow.
So just by that 0.1, Yeah, we all got pretty close to the center of that dart.
Josh making his comeback.
Maybe.
I mean, hey, that puts Josh at 11, Garrett and I at 13. We only got.
I am the.
I really need
yeah.
that double. I need that double point.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Okay.
We got so much time.
Well, that will do it for us this week. Go watch Lost in Translation if you haven't done that before. If we have inspired you to do so, maybe we didn't. I don't know. Or let us know what you think of the movie in the comments on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you want to comment about the movie. I don't care at that point. Just let us know what you thought.
Yeah.
We will see you guys next time with another pick from our Female Directors Month. So go subscribe, somanysequels.com. We'll see you soon.
Bye.